Hey everyone, welcome to Star Wars Holocron. I hope everyone's having a great day today. Today is going to be a relatively short video. We're going to be going over the body target zones and the 3 rings of defense for combat. Let's begin. As we know, Shi-Cho lightsaber style was the initial lightsaber form created. Its design was aimed at instructing others how to utilize lightsabers effectively. Lightsaber fighting is characterized by the areas of the physique that serve as targets of strikes and deflection. Attack 1 and Parry 1 are the only strikes and parries in the typical combat sessions where the roles switch. The majority of assaults are conducted with horizontal swipes, and deflects are usually carried out with vertical blocks, aiming to drive the tip of the adversary's sword back. A Zone 1 strike is aimed at performing a vertical slide at the top of the head, with the aim of slicing through the enemy. The corresponding parry is a horizontal block. Though the Zone 4 stance was used for this, the Zone 1 parry stance was a horizontal guard. The angle of the blade was across the body and held at head height. A Zone 2 or 3 parry position can sometimes be the result of a Zone 1 attack being deflected aside. In Zones 2 and 3, they aim for whichever one of their arms is on their dominant side. Strikes in Zones 2 and 3 consisted of horizontal side swipes, while the match in defense was a vertical parry. In Shi-Cho fighting sessions, the grip was kept low at the waist and the lightsaber was raised upwards, but in other forms of fighting, the grip was maintained elevated for drop parries. When fighting an opponent, you should aim for his right weapon arm, and that's likely his stronger hand. Disarming an enemy who uses his left arm mostly would require a left-handed blow on his weapon. Zone 4 includes the whole trunk, but especially the rear or back. Attacks in Zone 4 almost always end in death. Given the traditional parry 4 stance involves dropping the blade behind the duelist's back at an angle, the traditional 4 attack stance is most likely a hybrid of Zone 2 and Zone 3 techniques. Holding the hilt behind your waist with the blade extended upward is an alternative, if awkward, parry 4 stance. Zone 5 was the upper right leg, while Zone 6 was the upper left. The defensive positions used for Zones 5 and 6 were drop parries with the hilt held at the waist, while the offensive strategies were low side slashes or swipes. Lastly, we have Zone 7 and Zone 8, which I did not mark off, but they covered both the left and right lower legs. Drop parries with the hilt held at the waist were comparable defensive stances to the low side swipes and slashes that were used in the assaults. Now moving on to the 3 rings of defense. Cam Solasar, an expert fencer, taught Luke's Jedi Order the fundamentals of lightsaber dueling, including the 3 rings of defense. Before Luke saved him, Cam was a former Jedi Knight who had turned to the dark side. Cam, after his encounter with Luke, enrolled among the initial pupils at Yavin 4's Jedi Academy. The 3 rings of defense were a principle of lightsaber combat and served as a single style, viable for all forms of engagement. The outer ring of defense struck from a distance with powerful sweeping strokes. The wide area strikes appeared slower to execute but were far more devastating. The 4 guard positions on the outer ring all had the saber positioned at a diagonal. The upper right, upper left, lower right, and lower left. Sweeping, powerful blows that, despite being strong, could take some time to deliver were present in the outermost ring. As mentioned, characterized by strong, sweeping blows intended to batter down an opponent's defenses, the outer ring was sacrificed speed for strength and was duel-orientated to its core. The outer ring style shared most in common with Jem So with its powerful blows and counterattacks, and with Juyo being the more aggressive of the 3 rings. However, utilizing the outer ring left you susceptible to weak defenses and a lack of mobility. The middle ring of protection was intended to deflect blast and pick up and block faster hits. Both the top and bottom guards were horizontal, while the guards on the left and right were vertical, such that the blade was always kept at a straight angle. When used properly, the middle ring might prevent attacks from penetrating the body. The middle ring lacked the proficient blade work of the inner ring and the powerful strikes of the outer ring. The middle ring created a balance between power and agility. For those who lacked the strength needed for the outer ring, or the quickness needed for the inner ring, or simply wanted a well-rounded form to fall back on, then the middle ring was a great choice. The middle ring closely resembled Form 5 Xian because of its blaster defensive capabilities. The inner ring was the final line of defense and was risky to assault or defend against. It was impervious to lunges because it used parries rather than blocks. The hilt covered the navel in its single guard posture. The point of the sword would be angled, and the bottom part of the blade would be used to deflect attacks away from the target, allowing for a quick counterattack to the opponent's chest or belly. This was the very end of the line of defense and thus was very dangerous from either side. The inner ring opted for parries and redirects over strict blocks. It was quick and held the hilt close to the body. Because of its quickness, it sacrificed strength. However, because of its quick maneuvers and postures, the inner ring was extremely dangerous. The inner ring resembled Makashi because of its quick and precise blade work. The inner ring is very suitable for lightsaber combat in the fast style, whereas the outer ring is suitable for combat in the strong style. And finally, the middle ring is suitable for combat in the medium style. Overall, the 3 rings of defense were simplistic, similar to the principles of Shicho and its simplicity. The rings of defense were easy to master, and they were devastating in the hands of a skilled practitioner. The primary purpose of the 3 rings of defense was to get initiates familiar with lightsabers and get them combat ready as quickly as possible, and the 3 rings of defense served this purpose effectively. Thanks everyone for watching. If you liked the video, please force push the like and subscribe button. May the Force be with you, always.